Every single morning, you wake up into an immediate battle for the sovereignty of your own mind. Before your eyes are even fully adjusted to the light, and long before your feet have made physical contact with the floor, your primitive brain automatically initiates a default processing loop. It begins cycling through a relentless catalogue of past regrets, unreturned messages, and a heavy, exhausting list of upcoming daily obligations. Most men immediately surrender this critical window of dawn to the modern digital square. You reach for the glass screen next to your bed, allow random algorithms and foreign opinions to flood directly into your subconscious mind, and spend your highest cognitive capital reacting to noise you did not choose. You are effectively starting your day as a prisoner of your environment. The ancient masters understood that the first thoughts you intentionally plant upon waking set the unyielding architectural foundation for your entire physical reality. If you want to build an unbreakable citadel within your own mind, you must aggressively deprogram these defaults and learn to anchor your consciousness with specific, unyielding daily declarations. Treat these words not as casual positive thinking, but as rigid technical blueprints engineered to cut the invisible strings of reactivity and restore your absolute autonomy. The first morning declaration you must forcefully plant inside your mind is the absolute ownership of your response. Look closely at how the average person navigates their daily routine. They step into traffic, receive an unexpected critique from a supervisor, or face a minor inconvenience, and their emotional state instantly plummets into anger and paralysis. They are operating like a simple puppet, dancing wildly on strings, controlled by outside forces. Marcus Aurelius, managing the monumental stress of a crumbling empire from a freezing military tent, insisted that while you possess zero direct power over external events, you retain total, absolute sovereignty over your internal interpretation of those events. The tragedy of your existence is that you are treating a rude comment or an unpredictable delay as an absolute catastrophe, completely blind to the reality that the event itself cannot draw blood. It is your unmonitored mind that rushes forward to swallow the event and turn it into a poisonous dagger inside your own gut. The exact microsecond you wake up, you must look at the ceiling and declare to your soul that you choose your response. You are drawing a hard line in the sand, establishing a protective buffer between the stimulus of the chaotic world and your physical actions. You stop begging the universe to be easy, and you start forcing your internal machinery to remain entirely unmoved by the shifting weather of the crowd. Consider the immense mechanical friction of trying to force the external world to match your private expectations. Every single second you spend worrying about what a competitor is doing, how a crowd perceives your work, or whether a partner will remain loyal, is capital you have actively stolen from your own morning production line. You are operating your machinery with massive internal leaks. A sovereign man understands that external objects possess zero intrinsic power to harm or elevate his soul. The harm exists exclusively in the raw, unmonitored interpretation he chooses to wrap around the event. When someone hurls an insult at you in the public square, they are simply moving air molecules across space. The air has no teeth. It cannot draw blood. It is your primitive, defensive ego that actively rushes forward, swallows the air, and transforms it into a poisonous weapon inside your own gut. You are effectively collaborating with your enemies to destroy your own peace. To master this first morning declaration, you must establish absolute machine-like detachment. You look at the insult, the market crash, or the sudden delay not as an insult from fate, but as completely objective data to be integrated without an emotional tantrum. You focus every single unit of your attention on the single asset you actually control, your immediate next action. The second morning declaration you must forge into your consciousness is that growth lives here. When you sit at your workspace and a sudden wave of anxiety or deep mental resistance hits your chest, your default human programming tells you that something has gone wrong. You assume that discomfort is a sign of failure, so you immediately look for an escape route. You open a distractions tab, you check your phone, or you walk away from the task to chase cheap comfort. You must destroy this fragile perspective entirely. The ancient masters taught the radical concept of Amor Fati, the absolute love of one's fate. Discomfort is not an enemy targeting your progress. It is the mandatory friction required to tear down old defaults and forge new neural pathways. When you wake up and declare that growth lives here, you are fundamentally reframing the architecture of your day. You stop viewing difficult confrontations, complex tasks, and intense periods of focus as unfair burdens from fate. Instead, you treat them as the exact raw, high-value soil where your personal evolution takes root. You learn to welcome the resistance with a fierce, quiet joy, knowing that the fire does not destroy the stone, it burns away the debris to reveal the true fortress beneath. Look closely at the psychological traps of an easy, friction-free existence. A soft routine completely rots the internal layout of a man's soul. When you optimize your entire morning to dodge discomfort, avoid difficult tasks, and treat minor inconveniences like catastrophic emergencies, your spirit deteriorates fast. Deliberately step into the cold, take the heavier path when a simple shortcut is staring you in the face. Force your body to endure physical strain and spend hours in absolute isolation with nothing but your raw thoughts. When you control your own suffering and actively declare that growth lives inside the friction, standard life problems completely lose their power to break you. Hardship becomes a specialized gymnasium designed to upgrade your discipline. The resistance is not blocking your path. The resistance is the path itself. When you strip away the emotional tantrum and view difficulty with pure objectivity, you turn every daily obstacle into an absolute structural victory for your character. The third morning declaration that must anchor your waking mind is that today matters most. The modern human animal is almost perpetually trapped in two artificial mental prisons. You spend half your mental capital drowning in bitterness over past conversations you wish had gone differently, or agonizing over old failures you can no longer touch. The other half of your energy is completely leaked into the future, fueling an exhausting web of anxiety about scenarios that haven't even happened yet. You are living everywhere except the single microsecond where your life actually exists. Repeating the phrase "today matters most" serves to violently drag your consciousness back into the absolute present. The past is a closed book of dead data, and the future is an unwritten concept. This exact hour, this exact task in front of your hands, is the only coordinate in the entire cosmos where you possess the physical power to act, to build, and to execute. Banish the ghosts of yesterday and the phantoms of tomorrow. Lock your focus down like a laser array onto your immediate current objective and execute your daily duty with absolute clinical precision. Understand the heavy operational toll of living your life inside a state of perpetual delay. When you push your primary goals into an unspecified tomorrow, you are childishly assuming that time is a cheap, infinite resource that nature owes you. You treat the future as a dumping ground for the tasks your current cowardice refuses to face. This is the psychological trap of procrastination. Every time you delay your duty, your internal resistance grows exponentially heavier, conditioning your mind to run away from discomfort as a regular habit. To reverse this damage, you must look at the clock every morning and recognize that this single day is a complete, self-contained miniature version of your entire life. What you choose to execute in these next 12 hours is the direct, unvarnished metric of who you actually are. There are no rehearsal days. There are no secondary timelines. Strip away the broad, vague plans and lock your immediate attention onto the raw manual actions right in front of your face. The fourth morning declaration required to secure your autonomy is the unyielding realization that you are enough. We operate inside a highly sophisticated modern landscape engineered entirely to make you feel perpetually incomplete. From the moment you unlock your screen, you are bombarded with curated illusions of other people's success, luxury, and hyper-optimized lifestyles. The system constantly whispers that your fundamental human worth is strictly tied to your immediate productivity metrics, your bank account balance, or the shallow approval of a digital audience. When you internalize this counterfeit programming, you turn your life into a frantic, desperate performance for a gallery that isn't even paying attention. Declaring that you are enough upon waking is an act of total psychological rebellion. It is the deliberate deprogramming of outside social conditioning. It does not mean you abandon your ambition or stop building your wealth. It means you pull your self-worth entirely off the public market. You realize that your character, your integrity, and your inner citadel cannot be validated or broken by external metrics. You stop building your empire to beg for outside applause, and you start building it simply because your internal standards demand absolute excellence. Look closely at the intense psychic fatigue that comes from constantly chasing the validation of an indifferent crowd. When you tie your internal baseline to whether or not people clap for your milestones, you are handing a remote control to strangers. You become a psychological beggar, shifting your vocabulary, altering your principles, and watering down your long-term goals just to remain acceptable to an uncritical audience. Break this dependency with absolute, stone-cold clarity. True sovereignty means your internal framework is entirely self-sustaining. You operate at peak velocity because it is your non-negotiable duty as a rational man, not because you want an accolade or a title to show your peers. When you pull your validation off the public square and bury it deep within your own borders, you become functionally untouchable. The insults of critics lose their edge, and the praise of crowds loses its intoxicating poison. You walk through the arena completely clear-headed, driven exclusively by the standard of your own execution. The fifth and final morning declaration you must master ruthlessly is that you release control. The childish illusion that you can somehow manipulate, predict, or govern every variable in your environment is the ultimate source of spiritual fatigue. You burn massive reserves of mental energy, worrying about what your competitors are doing, how a partner feels about you, or whether external economic timelines will favor your plans. It is an exhausting, losing battle. True, unshakable power only begins when you draw a razor-sharp line between your input and the outcome. Your domain begins and ends strictly with your own effort, your own boundaries, and your own attitude. The choices of other people, the chaotic fluctuations of the market, and the absolute reality of random setbacks rest entirely outside your borders. When you look at the dawn and declare that you release control, you are not surrendering to laziness. You are optimizing your forces. You hand outcomes over to fate with absolute indifference, and you channel 100% of your remaining capital strictly into the quality of your execution. You stop fighting the tide of reality, and you start building a purposeful, untouchable inner life that remains steady, unbothered, and entirely free. Recognize the immense structural peace that flows into your routine when you completely divorce your effort from the eventual result. When an amateur launches a project, He constantly checks the data, reads the room, and spikes his anxiety based on immediate metrics he cannot directly manipulate. He is wasting his highest morning capital on shadows. A master general builds his plan with absolute engineering perfection, steps onto the battlefield with total presence, and executes the tactics with unbending ferocity, leaving the victory or defeat completely up to the grand design of reality. If the market shifts and the venture collapses, he does not waste an hour crying to the wind about the unfair landscape. He calmly surveys the wreckage, updates his immediate metrics, and designs the next strategic input with zero emotional residue. You must bring this machine-like focus into your morning rituals. Separate your hands from the horizon and lock your mind entirely inside the boundary of your current labor. The journey of lasting personal growth is not found in complex productivity hacks or endless consumption of fleeting internet trends. It is found in the rigorous, unglamorous stripping away of the unessential. It is found in recognizing the puppet strings of external validation and cutting them without a single moment of hesitation. It is found in zooming out until your fragile ego is completely silent. It is found in looking at the steep, forbidding mountains of adversity and choosing to walk upward regardless of the pain. This philosophy demands everything from you. It demands that you stop being a passive victim of your circumstances and start taking absolute ownership of your mind. You are the sole architect of your inner citadel. No one is coming to save you from your anxieties. You must save yourself by mastering your own perceptions. Let the external world rage. Let the opinions of others shift like the wind. Let fate deal its most chaotic hand. Deep in the dark void of your own mind, you must remain that untouched, luminous, minimalist center, steady, unbothered, and entirely free.